I usually ask Siri, the AI voice living in my Apple computer, to read my video scripts. However, since what I want to talk about is my own mental life forming experience, I want to use my own voice to describe it. Here it is. I am 10 years old, sitting on the bench by the sea. It's my favorite place in my favorite Baltic summer resort, and the day is coming to its end. I love it when it's getting dark and quiet and peaceful. I'm sinking into this summer evening magic and dissolving in the bliss of my trouble-free existence. And then it comes. It descends upon me like a cloud. It's invisible to my eyes. Only my psyche perceives its dense and heavy substance. The cloud tells me that I am going to die. Not now, not soon, but someday I will have to die. The acute sense of my own mortality pierces through my whole being and fills me to the brim with its melancholy. I'm drunk with the awareness of death. I intensely know I'm going to die. And because I'm going to die, everything is useless and pointless. No effort makes any sense. There is nothing to strive for. Whatever I could ever accomplish is but a dust. Nothing matters. Everything passes away. Everything must succumb eventually to death. Everything must eventually fail. When the cloud finally lifts, I am left dazed, as if in a trance, looking at the world through a psychic fog which creates a distance between me and everything else. For 3 days, I go through the motions of the summer resort life as if I were out of this world. I am in the world, but at the same time, I'm already gone. My attachment to life is broken. At any time, I could say goodbye to everything with ease, which partly frightens me and partly amazes me when I think about it. After 3 days of being entranced, going through the daily motions of life, I'm seemingly back to reality. I want to be back to my before the cloud self. At the same time, I know that I can't. I'm different now. I can sense the difference, but cannot yet appreciate the effect of the cloud on the following decades of my life. What influenced me and hypnotized me into its all useless, pointless, and nonsense attitude towards my existence was neither an external event nor human behavior. What was it? Where did it come from? I don't really know. It felt as if it were spiritual in origin and power. What I know is that whatever it was, it had profoundly influenced my whole life. It forced me into an ongoing existential depression. It forced upon me a tremendous difficulty to strive for anything and a great tendency to self-sabotage my efforts.
I'm not the only one whose life has been profoundly affected by an early awakening to the reality of the inevitable death and the consequent loss of the ability to decidedly strive for anything. Just recently, I came across a description of an early life experience similar to mine. Here is what the affected person said. I can still remember, viscerally, the experience of first coming to understand that one day I was going to die. I must have been about 5 or 6, and although I obviously did not yet have the language to describe my feelings, there is no doubt that what I experienced was existential horror. It wasn't just that the prospect of dying absolutely terrified me, although it certainly did. It was also a deeper sense that this fact just did not compute. Surely that could not be right. Surely I couldn't simply cease to exist? Not me. I could get my head around the idea that other people were going to die. The pet cat had died, after all. But not me? Surely. Except, yes, also me. It made my head spin. Psychological vertigo. The only way I could cope was to ignore this fact as much as possible, which mostly worked out okay, especially when I was younger, but less so during my teenage years. When I first became acquainted with the visits of the black dog, the dog, you know you're going to die, right? Therefore, everything is pointless. Therefore, you might as well just get on with it and kill yourself now. The young philosopher. Hang on. Those are terrible inferences. Therefore, signals an entailed step in an argument. And these things don't follow from each other at all. The dog. Yes, but you are going to die. And so, everything is pointless. So, end it now. The young philosopher. I'm still not quite sure. The dog. You are going to die. Everything is pointless. Just die. As you might already know, one cannot win an argument with a dog. This didn't stop me from trying for years, of course, and with predictable levels of success. Still, I got decent stretches of respite whenever the dog trundled off and left me alone, unpredictable as any return visits could be. But even during times of respite, it filled me with sheer horror to look over there, be reminded of the fact that one day I would simply cease to be, would become nothing. So I tried not to look, and when I did, I shuddered with existential terror. The description of the early life awakening to the reality of the inevitable death, resulting in a lifelong existential depression, which I have presented above, comes from Paul's article entitled, Accepting the Inevitable, A Tale Told by an Idiot, Full of Sound and Fury. Link in the description. I've always wanted to write about my early life existential depression engendering experience and put it out into the world. I've also wanted to tell others who find themselves in a similar predicament how much I've been helped by my day trading involvement in terms of successfully removing myself from the mental grip of existential depression. You see, learning how to day trade is such an incredibly mind-grabbing endeavor that when you are in this game, which requires total focus, there is not much else that you have on your mind. In this way, learning how to day trade and trading successfully after you've mastered the game injects into your mental landscape a powerful structure that obscures and deflects all of the existential depression-related feelings which otherwise could be more than you could handle.